Meanwhile, a company that makes health products from electric toothbrushes to MRI machines is positioning itself as the next AI healthcare giant. Philips just conducted the largest healthcare survey of its kind, and Fox Business has the very first look. Let me give you some of the headlines out of this. It's fascinating. 83% of health clinicians lose time with patients due to incomplete or inaccessible data. This adds up to more than 4 weeks of wasted time per year. The survey shows 63% of healthcare professionals believe AI can improve patient outcomes. And here's where the disparity comes in. This is really interesting. Only 48% of patients are optimistic that AI can improve care. That gap gets even wider when you break it down by patients' age. And when it comes to delays in patient care, the survey finds this is very alarming. Patients on average have to wait 59 days for an appointment to see a specialist. And this number really blows my mind. 23% of health professionals say they would not pursue a career in healthcare if they had to do it again. Well, Philips says it has the answer to improve those numbers by interweaving innovations in AI into the global healthcare system. Tall order. Joining me now in a Fox Biz exclusive, Philips North America CEO Jeff DiLullo. It's great to see you here.
It's good to be here.
This survey was fascinating to me, and I think one of the things that really stood out to me was the disparity in trust with AI with regards to patient care. Did that surprise you, or was there something else that surprised you here?
Well, you know, there's a couple aspects that didn't actually surprise us. We look at AI development and deployment on a continuum. People are comfortable with what they know and they can understand. So when you look at almost 9 out of 10 healthcare practitioners see the value of AI in administrative work reduction, manual work reduction, it really frees them up to spend more time with patients. They're rapid adopters. A few less are optimistic about long-term health outcomes. That might be because they're not totally sure how the algorithms work. And when it comes down to individual patients, look, I have a 2 Gen Z and a millennial, and they are fluent in AI. They don't worry about a thing. Other generations are a little more conservative and really want to understand what's happening. And so I think there's a trust. That's the survey was essentially trust in AI was the theme for us to really understand it. And I think it tells us maybe what we already knew, but why does it matter?
Right.
Yeah,
well, why does it matter to your company, I think, is my next question, because I think the trust deficit is fascinating because, you know, you mentioned your kids. Well, they grew up with phones in their hands and tablets at the ready. But the older generation, there wasn't even the internet when that older generation, the baby boomers, the retired folks out there. So that's, I think, where the rubber's going to meet the road here. Yeah. How do you overcome that? Because you really need wider acceptance for success if you're going to have AI in healthcare and kind of, you know, change global healthcare, which is, it's a big goal for you.
It's a big goal, but there's also, it's not just Philips. There's an entire industry focused on med tech innovation. But to answer the specific question, if I think of who a patient, whether you're 45 and older or not, who do you trust the most? The survey suggests that they trust their doctor, their physician, more than anybody else in the entire healthcare industry. Then it's educating physicians on the value that AI can bring them, not just from initial stages of I can be more productive, I can see more patients, but actually, how does it help me expand diagnostic and treatment faster so I get better outcomes? That evidence-based approach is what we're trying. And one of the things that we just launched, 50% of our products, we see a lot of demand, a lot of pull for our products here in North America, particularly. A lot of that is because healthcare systems are dealing with this inefficiency, ineffectiveness. And so we're seeing, like our second generation Blue Seal or helium-free MR has a ton of AI that's built on top of it to speed up the scan times to allow us to be much more productive.
So is the responsibility more going to be on the physician or the hospital chain or the doctor's office that buys products from you, where that AI is incorporated for them to kind of explain to patients why this matters? Or do you yourself have to do some type of marketing campaign or information campaign to get the word out?
Well, we're kind of doing a marketing campaign right now because we want the word out, right? Yeah. But we also believe if we build the confidence with our physicians, the people that meet with patients, that eventually that trust will come along. And so the physicians in our hospitals, those that are really stressed on ability to serve patients and deal with the staff shortage they have, those are the people we're trying to target to show the value.
Do you target health systems first, or are you targeting individual physicians?
Well, everything comes down to the patient-physician experience. If we can do it faster, let me give you an example. So we have, I mentioned our helium-free MR. The fact that it's helium-free is a significant environmental impact. It's also much lower cost, but it's to acquire, but it's also easier to deploy. But the value for us in the imaging is There are going to be 40 million MRI scans this year in North America. I have software that can compress the scan time. If you've ever had an MRI, it's a pretty unpleasant experience, right?
Nah, I fall asleep, but I'm weird. Go ahead.
But the clanking and the, if you're a 45, 50, 60-year-old person, it's a very traumatic experience. So we can compress that to a half or a third of the time. We have a significantly better patient experience. I can also do 2 or 3 times more scans per hour.
Well, and obviously that would be, because I think also too, you're going to have the MRI and AI is going to review, but you always have a human set of eyes.
Always.
That reviews the data as well. And we're seeing that. I know that that's happening. All right, one of your biggest customers is the Veteran Affairs Department. And Doug Collins is a good friend, the new VA secretary, and his number 1 goal and issue is veterans care, quality care for his veterans. How do you help him do that? They are a customer.
Well, interesting. The veterans, VA is our largest customer.
Right.
It's our largest customer globally. We also have a very in-depth relationship with them for innovation and deployment. So our telecritical care instance with the VA is a proof point. We talk about evidence points. It's the largest ICU monitoring deployment in the world. So we have, whether you're in Kalispell or whether you're in Fort Harrison, Montana, or you're at Walter Reed in Washington, D.C., you have access to the network of VA specialists and intensivists right at the bedside of any ICU in a VA system. So I'm bringing specialists in for much better care. We get better outcomes. We have lower mortality when you get to an ICU in a VA. And now I'm extending that even further as we look at AI automation to be able to do things in some of their 1,100 or so clinics in the VA network, so I can actually bring it closer to where people live.
I know we have to run, but does that include records management or data sharing for like patient? I mean,
yeah. So
that's what you're saying, correct?
So,
Just want to make sure I'm clear.
We work very closely with electronic health records partners. So we liquidate and organize that information to go in, so you get a holistic picture of every veteran, regardless of care setting they're in, so you can see their entire history. That's what we do.
You also make a lot of great consumer products. Real quick, tariffs. You still worried? You worried about tariffs?
It's a moving situation. You've seen it's a challenge for us. I really appreciate what the president's doing to try to do. I also appreciate the pause with the China deals. We are trying very hard to take decisive cost actions to absorb that so that we can continue to deliver great care to our patients.
Are you going to raise prices?
We are, look, we are a small part of what hospitals have to deal with. They're in much bigger trauma than us. Most of our things are fixed. Most of our arrangements with hospitals there are fixed cost. Long term, we have a different issue. I think the free trade agreements that have been in place in the past should be considered in Medtech, because everything we do is life-giving for humans all across the country.
And again, you have a huge business there. Jeff DiLullo, it's great to have you in studio. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
Yeah.